कितनी सहजता से बोले जाने वाले शब्द है और ये शब्द वहां कैसे पहुंचे हैं। यहां गल्फ के इस क्षेत्र से हम दोनों देशों का नाता सैकड़ों हजारों वर्ष का है और भारत की कामना है कि ये ऐसे ही दिनों दिन और मजबूत होता रहे। साथियों, मुझे बताया गया कि यहां स्टेडियम में इस वक्त सैकड़ों की संख्या में स्टूडेंट्स भी आए हैं। आज यूएई में मौजूद भारतीय स्कूलों में ऐसे 1.25 लाख से अधिक स्टूडेंट पढ़ रहे हैं। ये युवा साथी भारत यूएई की समृद्धि के सारथी बनने जा रहे हैं। ब्रदर हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद बिन जायद के सपोर्ट से पिछले महीने ही आईआईटी दिल्ली के अबू धाबी कैंपस में मास्टर्स कोर्स शुरू हुआ है। दुबई में नया सेंट्रल बोर्ड ऑफ सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन सीबीएसई का ऑफिस भी जल्द ही खुलने वाला है। मुझे विश्वास है कि ये संस्थान यहां भारतीय कम्युनिटी को बेस्ट एजुकेशन देने में और मदद करेंगे। साथियों, आज एक एक भारतीय का लक्ष्य 2047 तक भारत को विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने का है। दुनिया का वो देश जिसकी अर्थव्यवस्था बहुत तेजी से आगे बढ़ रही है, वो देश कौन सा है? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो देश कौन सा है जो स्मार्टफोन डेटा कंज्यूम करने में नंबर 1 है? दुनिया का वो देश कौन सा है जो ग्लोबल फिनटेक एडॉप्शन रेट में नंबर 1 है? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो देश कौन सा है जहां सबसे ज्यादा मिल्क प्रोडक्शन होता है? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो देश कौन सा है जहां इंटरनेट यूजर्स के मामले में नंबर 2 पर है? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो देश कौन सा है जो दुनिया का दूसरा सबसे बड़ा मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरर है? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो देश कौन सा है जहां दुनिया का तीसरा सबसे बड़ा स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम है? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो देश कौन सा है जो अपने पहले ही प्रयास में मंगल तक पहुंच गया? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो देश कौन सा है जिसने चंद्रमा के साउथ पोल पर अपना झंडा गाड़ दिया है? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो कौन सा देश है जो एक बार में 100 सैटेलाइट भेजने का रिकॉर्ड बना रहा है? हमारा भारत। दुनिया का वो कौन सा देश है जिसने अपने दम पर 5G टेक्नोलॉजी विकसित करके सबसे तेज रोल आउट किया है? हमारा भारत। साथियों, भारत की उपलब्धि हर भारतीय की उपलब्धि है। सिर्फ 10 साल में भारत दुनिया की 11वें नंबर की इकोनॉमी से 5वें नंबर की इकोनॉमी बन गया है। और आप जानते हैं, मुझे हर भारतीय के सामर्थ्य पर कितना ज्यादा भरोसा है, इसी भरोसे के दम पर मोदी ने एक गारंटी भी दी है। मोदी की गारंटी आप जानते हैं? मोदी ने अपने तीसरे टर्म में मोदी ने अपने तीसरे टर्म में भारत को तीसरे नंबर की इकोनॉमी बनाने की गारंटी दी है। और मोदी की गारंटी यानी गारंटी पूरा होने की गारंटी। हमारी सरकार लोगों के जीवन स्तर को सुधारने के लिए, उनकी परेशानियां कम करने के लिए लगातार काम कर रही। हमने 4 करोड़ से ज्यादा परिवारों को पक्का घर बनाकर दिया है। हमने 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा परिवारों को नल से जल का कनेक्शन दिया है। हमने 50 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों को बैंकिंग सिस्टम से जोड़ा है। हमने 50 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों को 5 लाख रुपए तक के मुफ्त इलाज की सुविधा दी है। गांव देहात के लोगों को इलाज में दिक्कत ना हो, इसके लिए हमने 1.5 लाख से ज्यादा आयुष्मान आरोग्य मंदिर बनवाए हैं। साथियों, आप में से जो लोग बीते दिनों भारत गए, वो जानते हैं कि आज भारत में कितनी तेजी से बदलाव आ रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक आधुनिक एक्सप्रेस वे बना रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक नए एयरपोर्ट बनवा रहा है। आज भारत एक से बढ़कर एक नए रेलवे स्टेशन बनवा रहा है। आज भारत की पहचान नए आइडियाज, नए इनोवेशंस की वजह से बन रही है। आज भारत की पहचान मेगा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट से बन रही है। आज भारत की पहचान एक वाइब्रेंट टूरिज्म डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में बन रही है। आज भारत की पहचान एक बड़ी स्पोर्ट्स पावर के रूप में बन रही है। और आपको सुनकर गर्व होता है जरूर होता होगा, होता है ना साथियों। आप सभी भारत में आई डिजिटल क्रांति को जानते हैं। डिजिटल इंडिया की प्रशंसा पूरी दुनिया में हो रही है। इसका लाभ यूएई में बसे आप सभी साथियों के भी हो, इसके लिए हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं। हमने यूएई के साथ अपने रुपे कार्ड स्टैक को शेयर किया है। इससे यूएई को अपना डोमेस्टिक कार्ड सिस्टम डेवलप करने में मदद मिली है। और जानते हैं, भारत के सहयोग से बने कार्ड सिस्टम का यूएई ने क्या नाम रखा है? यूएई ने नाम रखा है जीवन। कितना खूबसूरत नाम दिया है यूएई ने। साथियों, जल्द ही यूएई में भी यूपीआई शुरू होने वाला है। इससे यूएई और भारतीय अकाउंट्स के बीच सीमलेस पेमेंट संभव हो पाएगी। इससे आप भारत में अपने परिवार के लोगों को और आसानी से पैसे भेज पाएंगे। साथियों, भारत के बढ़ते हुए सामर्थ्य ने दुनिया को भी स्थायित्व और समृद्धि की उम्मीद दी है। दुनिया को लगा है कि भारत एक भरोसेमंद ग्लोबल ऑर्डर स्थापित करने में सक्रिय भूमिका निभा सकता है। मुझे खुशी है कि आज भारत और यूएई मिलकर दुनिया के इस भरोसे को मजबूत कर रहे हैं। आप सभी ने भी देखा कि भारत ने एक बहुत ही सफल G20 सम्मेलन आयोजित किया है। इसमें भी हमने यूएई को एक पार्टनर के रूप में आमंत्रित किया। ऐसे प्रयासों से हमारी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप भी नई बुलंदी की तरफ बढ़ रही है। आज भारत को दुनिया एक विश्व बंधु के रूप में देख रही है। आज दुनिया के हर बड़े मंच पर भारत की आवाज सुनी जाती है। कहीं भी संकट आता है तो सबसे पहले पहुंचने वाले देशों में भारत का भी नाम होता है। आज का मजबूत भारत कदम कदम पर अपने लोगों के साथ खड़ा है। बीते 10 वर्षों में आपने देखा है कि जहां भी विदेशों में बसे भारतीयों को समस्या आई, भारत सरकार ने तेजी से एक्शन लिया है। यूक्रेन, सूडान, यमन और दूसरे संकटों के दौरान फंसे हजारों भारतीयों को हम सुरक्षित निकालकर भारत लाए। दुनिया में बसे या दुनिया के अलग हिस्सों में काम कर रहे भारतीयों की मदद के लिए सरकार दिन रात काम कर रही है। साथियों, भारत और यूएई मिलकर 21वीं सदी का नया इतिहास लिख रहे हैं और इस इतिहास का बहुत बड़ा आधार आप सभी मेरे साथी हैं। आप यहां जो मेहनत कर रहे हैं उससे भारत को भी ऊर्जा मिल रही है। आप भारत और यूएई के विकास और दोस्ती को यूं ही मजबूत करते रहें, इसी कामना के साथ इस भव्य स्वागत के लिए फिर से आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मेरे साथ बोले, भारत माता की, भारत माता की, भारत माता की। मेरी और आपके बीच में दूरी बहुत है, इसलिए मैं आपके बीच में आपके दर्शन करने के लिए आने वाला हूं। लेकिन मेरी आपसे प्रार्थना है कि आप जहां हैं वहीं बैठे रहोगे तो मुझे आपके दर्शन का सौभाग्य अच्छा मिलेगा। तो मेरी मदद करेंगे आप? पक्का करेंगे? भारत माता की, भारत माता की। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Mr. Modi at the Ahlan Modi event in the UAE in Abu Dhabi. This is, many are calling the biggest diaspora event that he has addressed. He's done this in numerous places around the world, from New York to London, even in Dubai during his first visit there. And as he said, he's visited the UAE 7 times since he came to power in 2014. So clearly, this is a relationship that India has placed a great amount of premium on, not just for the fact that there are a large number of Indian diaspora folks who are working there in the UAE, but more than that, it is also about how the UAE has now become one of the top 5 trading partners for India. Of course, it's not just about trading in oil and gas. That, of course, is a big component of this trade partnership, but also in merchandise goods, which the UAE has been steadily climbing as far as India's largest trade partners are concerned. Let me try and see if we can get to our guests who will be joining us in a minute, who will try and analyze the kind of relationship that India and the UAE have had, particularly in the last 10 years under the Modi regime, and how this bilateral relationship between Abu Dhabi and New Delhi has gone from strength to strength. There's also something to be said about other countries in the Middle East with whom India has extremely friendly and cordial ties, whether it is Saudi Arabia. In fact, right after the UAE visit, the Prime Minister will be stopping over in Doha, in Qatar, on his way back to India. There's going to be a bilateral with the Qatari establishment as well, and that is coming on the back of the release of 8 former Indian Navy personnel who were convicted there for espionage. Let me go across to Siddhant, who's joining us live from the Zayed Stadium, where the Prime Minister has just concluded his address to the 50,000 odd people of Indian origin who had gathered there. What was the main message of the Prime Minister's speech?
Well, first of all, he was full of gratitude for President of UAE, Sheikh Zayed Al Nahyan, for allowing the event of this stature, and perhaps for the support that the government of UAE has bestowed upon the people of the Indian diaspora, those who were part of this event. He also touched upon many issues. He also touched upon the bilateral relations between India and UAE. Perhaps to talk about the fintech technology. He also talked about that how a card which has been designed by the Indian technology will be used in UAE, and the name of that card is Jeevan. He also went back to 2015 Dhaka when he first came to UAE on a state visit, and that time also breaking all protocols. 10 crown prince came to the airport to receive Prime Minister Modi, and today also he was received by the president at the airport. So he was thankful to the government of UAE, to the president Al Nahyan, and to the royal family for the love and the respect that they showed for Prime Minister Modi. And he said that this love and this respect is not just for me, but each one of us who are present in the stadium, or perhaps half of the Indian origin. This respect is because of them. He also mentioned a very small story where during the COVID times he was planning to bring the Indians back to India, the people from the Indian origin. And at that point in time, he spoke to President Al Nahyan, and he requested him that he wants Indians to be back because of the COVID situation in UAE. At that point in time, Al Nahyan assured him that आपको चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं है. So that is a very small story that he mentioned from the state. Electrifying atmosphere, Dhaka, more than 45,000 people attended today's event for Haryana Modi, and Modi also thanked diaspora for their contributions, and he also said that he has come with a message from the soil where these people were born. He also has to say that भारत की सफलता में आपकी सफलता है, भारत के जोश में आपके जोश है. That is kind of a pitch, the message that Prime Minister Modi gave at Haryana Modi event. That was a very
all right,
brief and
Siddhant, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us live from the Zayed Stadium as the Prime Minister now takes a tour of the stadium and waves at the crowd. He's of course on an open-top vehicle. Asif Ramiz Dodi is a Middle East expert. Mr. Dodi, put into perspective for our viewers how important the India-UAE relationship has been, particularly in the last 8-9 years or so. When you would say bilateral relationships, particularly from India's point of view, the most important, of course, would be with the United States, with other Western countries. But surely, in the last decade or so, the relationship with major powers in the Middle East has been front and center of India's bilateral journey, as it were.
That's a very good question indeed. Yeah, we know about our relations with the United States and other countries, but when it comes to this particular region, we usually have the kind of perception that India cannot have a better relation or even a stronger relation in this particular government. Okay, that is the normal perception. But here there are two things. One is the extremely best diplomacy that India has showcased in these 10-15 years. You know, when you talk about 2014 especially, you know, the kind of diplomacy and the diaspora that we have here, they are properly, they're being taken care. Now, when you talk about the relation with, in particular with the UAE, you know, it's historical, we know that. We have very, it goes to years, you know, old relation. Sorry for my voice because of, anyways. But here, in particular, in these 8 or 10 years, what we have seen, a prime minister of a country visiting any particular region or country for around 7 times in this, within let's say 7 or 8 years, okay, it speaks volumes. How somebody will go there. This also tells us that how important is this region for India. And they kept on working on developing the relations into this level that the Prime Minister got all kinds of best civilian awards in this region. All right. That is one thing. And today we see what kind of message we get from this land, the UAE, where we talk about tolerance, where we talk about patience, where we talk about coexistence, and where we talk about, you know, equality between, there is no religious kind of something. We treat everybody equal. This is also one message. So this kind of relation. All right,
Mr. Dodi, let me, with your permission, also go across and get a word in from Rabinder Sachdev, who's also a strategic affairs expert. The relationship that India has with Middle East countries, of course, the critics of the Modi government would say, you know, his government's record, particularly when it comes to treatment of minorities, has been checkered. But at the same time, that has not stopped from Middle East countries, Islamic republics, from having good relations with India and even one-on-one personal relationships, whether it is between MBZ and the Prime Minister, as he referred to today in his speech, or even for that matter, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia and the Prime Minister. How do you sort of bring those two or reconcile with those two?
No, thank you so much, Zaka. A pleasure to be with you. No, absolutely, yes. You see, in this world of today, there is a give and take. Where we are in terms of a relations with the UAE and the wider Middle East region and all is because we have something to give. In the sense that we have grown as an economy, we have grown as a geopolitical power, we have grown in terms of our technology and talent. Now, these nations, they want to move away from the oil and fossil economy over the next 30, 40, 50 years. Whom do they see as their next bet? One. Secondly, they want to also move away from being solely in partnership with the United States. Who is the other multi-nodal pole or node with whom they can elevate their relations? India is a logical partner therein. These countries are sitting on piles of cash. Where do you invest your money? Yes, we need the investments, yes, but an investor needs returns on the investments, right? So you invest in India and you reap the returns. And in this discussion, today's speech with the Prime Minister was giving, and what you talked about, the whole issue of tolerance. By the way, UAE is not experimenting, it's on a path to create a very unique nation society. Remember, in the UAE, out of the 1 crore odd people, only 20 lakh are original Emiratis. Indians with 35 lakh are the largest diaspora, more than the local Emiratis. The UAE wants to create itself as a model nation. You see, Prime Minister mentioned that he was accompanied by the Minister of Tolerance of the UAE when they came in, right? So the UAE is very much looking forward to build relations with India because they've seen another thing, which also I think Modi ji mentioned, that the Indian diaspora contributes in a very productive manner, is very, very much in alignment with whichever society, wherever our diaspora works. And then going back, ranging from across technology, Prime Minister mentioned space. Very interesting, right? The UAE has recently launched a mission into a Mars mission. So he kind of, covered all aspects from culture to people. And of course, he re-emphasized his personal relations. But the fact that a nation, a Muslim nation, which till some time ago did not allow, worshipping of statues, murtis is not allowed in their religion. They've opened up their hearts and welcomed India. So that means they do see India as a partner in the world of tomorrow.
Let me also get a word in from Dr. Wael Awad, who's a senior journalist of the Middle East based here in India. Clearly, one of the things that they'll be talking about, I'm sure it came up in the bilateral conversation earlier today as well as tomorrow at the World Governance Summit, is about the situation in the Middle East in the context of the Israel-Hamas war. India, of course, has not taken an antagonistic position towards Israel. At the same time, it's also said that there needs to be a ceasefire and that humanitarian assistance should be of top priority. How is this being viewed in the Middle East?
Well, I think Indian consistent position toward the Palestinian cause have been understood very well in the Arab world ever since the Indian government have also established they recognized, was one of the first countries to recognize Palestinian as a state, and they opened for them an embassy in New Delhi. So there have been a fostering relation between India and the Arab world, and also for the cause of the Palestinian, especially the humanitarian aid and support in the international arena, where India was the forefront for the human and justice for the Palestinian. Having said that, I would say the recent changes, it might not have much impact on the long-standing Indian position, because the development in West Asia, and particularly the war of Israel and Gaza, have exposed the actual fact of the reasons or the motive behind this war is not to end Hamas, but to end and annihilate the whole of Palestine. So therefore, I think India's position will be of a worry if this war is expanded and has been spread into a regional war, where it could be damage or it could have a spatial impact on the oil and the food and the global trade. especially from the Strait of Hormuz to the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. So therefore, it is a matter of concern not only for India and the Arab world, but for the rest
All
of the
right.
world as well.
Okay, Dr. Weil and Raminder Sachdev and Mr. Dori, thank you very much for joining us and putting into perspective what's been going on there behind Prime Minister's UAE mission. Let's now move on to the other big story that we're tracking here on Brass Tacks. Farmers are headed out to the Delhi border yet again. There were skirmishes today at the Shambhu border that's between Punjab and Haryana. Farmers tried to break the barricades there. Police lobbed tear gas on them from the air using drones. Thousands of Delhiites, meanwhile, were inconvenienced because of the traffic restrictions that were imposed because of the farmer protests. It is almost like a 2021 repeat that is likely to play itself out over the next few weeks. Even schools, many of them in Delhi, were shut. Some in the National Capital Region simply went online. But at the crux of it is this: the farmers want a law that will guarantee minimum support price. The question is it feasible? Or will it break the exchequer? Will it break the bank to ensure that 23 odd crops which are procured at MSP, the entire output of those 23 crops to be procured at MSP, how much money will be required by the exchequer? Beyond the economics, beyond the finances, also, is this politically motivated, coming as it does just a few weeks before elections are due here in India? But first, the story of the farmers getting ready for a rerun of their 2021 protests.
Farmers are some way or the other initially able to break through concrete walls that have been placed up. They are able to get through the nails that have been put on the ground. The last resort for the Delhi police is going to be using these oils which will be spilled on the roads, so that the viscosity would make sure that the friction between the road and the tires of the tractors actually comes down.
सरकार बातचीत करके जो सरकार ने किसानों से समझौता किया था, उन बातों की मांगों को जो है सरकार बातचीत के जरिए समाधान करने का काम करे।
कुछ इस तरह के तत्व जो निजी स्वार्थ को लेकर या देश में इस तरह की स्थिति पैदा करने के लिए किसानों को इससे सावधान रहते हुए इससे बचना चाहिए और दिल्ली आने के लिए जो उकसा रहे हैं उससे दूर रहना चाहिए।
हमें नहीं लगता सरकार किसी मांग पर सिंसीरियस है, हमें नहीं लगता किसी मांग को उचित ढंग से वो पूरा करना चाहते हैं।
Tikri border right now, that is the Delhi Jhajjar border area, and right now you can see the kind of barricades that have been placed here. They are all with concertina wires have been placed atop them, so that even if the protesters they abandon their vehicles and try to cross over into Delhi manually, they can't cross over these barricades.
Many of the big vehicles, many of the big machineries are also being used to put a barricade as far as the prevention of the farmers are concerned in entering inside the national capital Delhi.
Let's go straight across to our guests who are joining us on this debate tonight. Binod Anand is a member of the Prime Minister's Committee on MSP and Agricultural Issues. Will be joined in a moment by Ramneek Singh Maan, activist. Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, will be joining us, and Manisha Elawat is spokesperson of the RLD. Mr. Binod Anand, let me start with you first. The farmers, their contention is when they withdrew their protests after the 3 farm laws were withdrawn, one of the contentions was that there should be a law guaranteeing minimum support price. This is an assurance that the government had given them. Now the government is not keeping its promise, therefore they are having to hit the streets of Delhi. Do you buy their argument?
Not exactly. When the gazetteer was created and when the 3 farmers leaders from Sangyukt Kisan Morcha were invited to discuss the legalities and other complex issues concerning minimum support price, they haven't come over. On the contrary, they have criticized each and every front from all the corners. They have criticized everybody, including media. So the thing is that they are not for the MSP, they are not for the farmers, and they don't want basically these issues to get resolved by all means. This issue is a very complex and this requires to be investigated by the different fronts, especially the crop diversification, what to grow, how to grow, how what quality need to grow, and where to sell. So that is the thing which it was decided. It was never decided. It was never been said by my honorable Prime Minister that he will work on giving the legal guarantee of the MSP. We have promised that the MSP minimum support price would be transparent and effective, and we will create the enough infrastructure, agriculture infrastructure, pan India to buy the produce due as per the market intervention schemes what the government is doing, and accordingly you will see that the inter-ministerial council has been created under honorable Union Home Minister and cooperation. More than 3 lakh packs are announced. They are integrated through computers. And on the contrary, we are doing the world's largest investment on warehouses. These are all on the part to create a transparent and effective minimum support price regime.
Okay, so let me also go across to Zainab Sikandar of the RLD. Zainab Sikandar, in the last set of protests in 2020-2021, when the farm laws were introduced, you were on the side of the farmers, you were hell-bent against the government at that time. Now you've shifted your political allegiances, you are virtually in the NDA. Are you abandoning the farmers? Are the farmers' demands not justified? They're asking for a guarantee, a law that will guarantee minimum support price. I don't want to get into the economics, whether it's feasible or not. Just on the politics, where does your party stand?
Our party has always stood with the farmers. I think this is a wrong statement to say that now we are, against the farmers. RLD's DNA is a farmers' party. It was a farmers' party. It is a farmers' party, and it will remain a farmers' party. Our party doors, our vidhayaks, our karyakartas, everybody is ready and with open arms to speak to any farmer. In fact, we will, whenever, as and when we stay in the government, we will work for farmers. So to say that, we're on the other side of the farmers is completely false
what will you do to impress upon the NDA government, to impress upon the Prime Minister, the Agriculture Minister? The main demand of the farmers is a law guaranteeing MSP. What are you going to do about it?
See, you have to, I don't know if you remember, in 2011, Jayant Chaudhary ji had introduced a private member's bill in which he did speak about the land acquisition, and he had 4 or 5 points in it, out of which the main ones were to compensate, farmers whose lands were taken, appropriately. And even
but that's not one of the 8 demands that have been put forth by the farmers who are currently protesting. Their main demand is on MSP. There are other demands, but land acquisition is not one of the demands.
I know it's not, but what I'm trying to say is that our intent is to work towards whatever benefits the farmers. So whatever the points are which are right now being put forward by the farmers, you have to understand there's already a committee which is seeing the MSP demands. And as and when time goes by and the SKM is on board in such a committee, so when the points are taken in cognizance, you have to understand there has to be a practicality. So once they are there, we will do whatever we can to make sure that whatever is for the benefit of farmers and is practical.
Go across to Ghanshyam Tiwari of the Samajwadi Party. I want to talk about the feasibility or the lack thereof of procuring 23 MSP crops. There are 23 crops that are declared, that have a declared minimum support price. To procure all 100% of the 23 MSP crops that are produced in this country, the government will need to shell out something in excess of 10 lakh crores every year. That is more than the defense budget, the health budget, the education budget of this country. In fact, it is as much as the infrastructure capex spending of the government. Now, my point is, if you were to do this, this is 22% of the total expenditure of the government. If you were to do this, it will make India not just a fiscally irresponsible nation, forget about being fiscally irresponsible, it will make India a bankrupt nation.
Good evening, Zaka, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. There are 3 things I want to speak about, starting from the leadership. If anyone in the country and every one of your viewers can test themselves on it, do we know who the Agriculture Minister of India is? Most of the people in this country don't know. This is the demolition of leadership in the Agriculture Ministry. A part-time minister cannot respond to the farmers. Point number 1. Point number 2, it is not the farmers who promised that by 2022 we want our income to be doubled. It is not the farmers who promised that the price that the government will pay will be 1.5 times, 1.5 times the input price. And it is not the farmers who raised the input price, such as the price of diesel, which doubled, which took away the urea that was allocated to them, that ensured that every input cost is increased, and it is not the farmers who led themselves to the policies of export and import that distort the market. It is not the farmers that brought in 2015 after a bumper mandate that Mr. Modi had of a land acquisition model that will snatch away their lands. It is not the farmers who brought the 3 laws, and it is not the farmers who said that we signed nearly 1 crore of us have signed. It was the law minister at that time, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, who did a press conference saying that nearly 1 crore farmers have signed for the laws, when media later reported the laws were cooked by some corporates, crony capitalists of BJP. So continuously you are deceiving the farmers at the highest level. We don't know the validity of Prime Minister's promise. We don't know who the agriculture minister is, what value he holds. And now we are seeing these General Dyer and Hitler Shahi model, where farmers who are being thrown into this violent setups, where police is lathi charging them, where Haryana government is
Ghanshyam,
from village to village.
you know, the fact that farmers are coming prepared with tractors that are equipped to go past barricades, the fact that they try to break barricades, I don't even want to get into that. I'm sticking today, Ghanshyam, one sec, hear me out, 10 seconds. To the question that I asked you, is MSP even a feasible demand when the government will have to shell out something like 10 lakh crores every year to procure 23 scheduled crops which have MSP that is associated with them? Current procurement of the government of India, all FCI, everything put together, is only 25% of the total crop output in this country. If it has to procure 100%, no government has that capacity. It simply does not have. As of 22-23, as of 22-23, Ghanshyam, the total procurement by the Modi government was 2.28 lakh crores. You are asking for a 5-time increase if any government has to procure all the MSP crops produced in this country. That's not even feasible.
Let me respond to that. First of all, did the farmers promise, was 15 lakh per person feasible? Was doubling of farm income feasible? Or the Prime Minister was blatantly lying? Was the 1.5 times the input price feasible? So if you have a Prime Minister who blatantly deceives the farmers, nothing is feasible. Point number 1. Point number 2, was 14,56,226 crores of write-ups to crony capitals feasible? Did the BJP write in its manifesto? The answer is no. You have a government built on deception and atrocity. When 700 farmers martyred themselves, was it feasible for a Prime Minister to just walk away, be there in birthday parties but not walk to those farmers? Was it feasible for union ministers to give threats to those farmers? Was it feasible for the Prime Minister to one day appear on the television and say, "Hamari tapasya mein kami ho gayi thi"? You are talking about a model of atrocity
the contention from both Ghanshyam and to some extent from the RLD spokesperson is that the government has periodically deceived the farmers, and therefore they are not willing to trust. There is a trust deficit between the government and the farmers. But please tell us, demand 1, enact law to guarantee minimum support price. Demand 2, monthly pension for farmers and labourers. Implement the Swaminathan Commission recommendation. Swaminathan Commission recommendation was adopted before this government came to power, 1.5 times input cost plus 50% profit. That is something that any government is duty bound to ensure that the farmers get. This government or the previous government was not able to implement the Swaminathan Commission report. That is the contention of the farmers. Please respond to that.
Mr. Jacob, firstly, I must tell you, on your very respected news channel, if somebody is saying that we do not know who is the Union Agriculture Minister of the country, he is very mistaken. You know, if any Union Agriculture Minister is from a tribal belt, from Jharkhand, some Munda, they don't want to listen it. When it's some Chaudhary, somebody from the different belt, they are all the time welcome. This is our narrative, which since independence has been created by a certain people who are deeply involved with the global value chain operators. So this is the first thing. Now coming to answering to your question, the utter lies what the political party spokesperson is speaking is beyond in the imagination. You know what the things we are thinking on. Are you thinking about the farmers of Uttar Pradesh, of Eastern Uttar Pradesh also, and Bihar and other part of the country? See, the minimum support price, this whole Swaminathan committee, it was created during the BJP government. So the Mr. Sompal Sastry, who was the founder chairman of this commission. Later on, when the Congress government came, they created the report also. And it was in 2007 when the report was given. And dude, you are having the good time. You haven't implemented even a single Swaminathan committee formula. It is us who has implemented at least A2 plus FL, and C2 plus FL is just not possible because MSP is a unifying factor. It is not we cannot deviate from the facts. We cannot break the country. 28 states, and you want the 30 kind of different MSP. My Bihar is having 5,000 rupees per acre is the tenancy rate. Punjab is having 40,000. And Uttar Pradesh, Western UP is having something different. So from where you will get C2 plus FL? You are actually, the people of the country are made fool by this particular spokesperson of certain parties who are mistreating and miscommunicating. Now coming back
to
but
Mr. Anand, once again, MS Swaminathan was the greatest. Once again, Mr. Anand. MS Swaminathan was the greatest agri-scientist this country has seen, the father of the Green Revolution. Just a few days ago, Modi government gave him the Bharat Ratna. Are you saying MS Swaminathan Commission recommendations cannot be implemented? If they cannot be, then the government should come out and say why it cannot be implemented. Same person you've given Bharat Ratna 1 week ago.
Implemented. A2 plus FL plus 50% is implemented.
You just said C2 plus FL, which is also part of the recommendation of that commission, cannot be implemented by any government. Forget about Modi government, any government. Then let them come out and say that it can't be implemented.
No. If certain people at certain time have given some recommendations and our government is trying to work out the MSP formula, which should be democratic, which should be national, which should be for 14 crore of farmers, then where is the problem? Come on the table, discuss. We have invited 3 Sanjut Kisan Morcha farmers, come on the table and discuss this complex issue. Do not go on the road. Our union leaders had been to Chandigarh to discuss with them when they have, since last 3 months they are asking these things. We have done enough exercise on that. Coming back to the legal issues, never ever my Honorable Prime Minister have spoken that he is there to provide the legal guarantee. The whole gazetteer does not have the word legal guarantee. It says the transparent and effectiveness. It says about that there have to be the agriculture infrastructure buying arrangement at place where the farmers can get the cafeteria approach to choose where to sell their commodities.
I come back to that point. One of the demand 6 of the farmers is to withdraw from WTO, freeze all free trade pacts. Now tomorrow, small traders in Chandni Chowk and other places can say we should stop all imports from China. I mean, where are we going with this? If India withdraws from what are its global treaty obligations like the WTO, then no one is going to take this country seriously as a mercantilist trading nation. These are global laws and all countries that are part of the WTO are governed by it. A bunch of farmers can't decide which crop we can import and which crop we can export. So tomorrow, like I said, traders will decide you don't import anything from China. Then what will you do?
See, that's why I said in my previous comment, as a party, we've always stood by, what the priority and what the benefit of farmers is. But there has to be a practicality that has to be to every demand. And that is why all the stakeholders need to come together and speak again on table. Because right now, there are too many people who are pitching in on the demands and some are not feasible as a nation. And we have to put the nation first also when we are discussing such huge reforms. You have to understand, when the farm laws were put forward, and then they were repealed, the whole point of it was that we want to have a farming marketing system owing to the changing times and considering the needs of the nation, which is why some of the demands, if they are not practical, at least an alternative can be given to it. But for that, we need to have everyone, all the stakeholders coming to the table. And that has been done before, and it has advanced
what is
to a
this
better
alternative?
position.
Farmers are hell-bent that MSP, that's their singular and most important demand. There are a whole bunch of other demands, but the most important demand is that MSP should be given. You have a member of the Prime Minister's Committee on MSP and Agriculture saying it's impossible, forget about this government, for any government to give C2 plus FL. But it's there in the Swaminathan Commission report. Swaminathan Commission was not, sat by this government. It was under the previous government. That government also accepted the report. This government has also accepted the report. But neither of them can pay the farmers. What are you going to tell the farmers then?
Because there is always a difference between doing something theoretically and doing something practically. The Swaminathan report, as brilliant as it is, you have to understand times have changed, prices have changed, the global scene has changed. I mean, this was back in 2004, 2006, when the Swaminathan report came out in four reports. So what I'm trying to say is we need to again sit on the table, all the stakeholders, especially the farmers, and we need to see what can be done and what cannot be done.
Okay.
But we cannot antagonize the farmers and say that their demands are wrong. We cannot say.
Ghanshyam, no country in the world, no developed country in the world, the United States, European Union, none of these countries have a guaranteed law which gives a minimum support price. And there's a good reason for it. Yes, farmers in those countries get subsidies. Farmers in our country also get subsidies. Food subsidy, fertilizer subsidy, free power in some states. All of this is subsidized by the state and given to the farmers. But nowhere in the world, in no developed economy, do you have a law that guarantees a minimum support price. Because the economics of it simply does not add up. Also, it will lead to inflation. So please, Ghanshyam Tiwari, explain to our viewers tonight how this is a logical / economically sound, rational demand of the farmers. When you have to up the Indian government's expenditure budget by 22% if they have to procure 23 crops at MSP every year.
Zakal, let me start with quoting somebody. February 23, 2014. MSP is declared, but that is restricted to newspapers only. We need to change in this sort of things to prevent ruin of our farmers. Modi ji, this is his own Twitter handle. That's point number one. Point number two, 15 April 2014. I quote once again the Honorable Prime Minister, we will change the minimum support price. There will be a new formula, the entire cost of production and 50% profit. It will not only help farmers, but this step will also not allow anyone to loot farmers. Modi said in Hazaribagh, Jharkhand. Is this a joke that is playing on the nation? That we have a member of Prime Minister's panel refuting the Prime Minister himself? What kind of joke is this?
I'm following that. I'm following that.
I did not interrupt.
So once again, Mr.
I'm sorry. Where is the legal thing has been quoted on?
No, one second, Mr. Anand, once again, please.
So he cannot speak.
Once again, let Ghanshyam finish, please. He didn't interrupt you, Ghanshyam.
So this is if it is a joke, then it's a tragic and cruel and barbarian joke, because we are seeing visuals of farmers being fired upon. We are seeing Haryana government saying that we will beat them up fairly strongly and they will teach them a lesson. My final point is that Vinod Anand keeps repeating that this is not a legal guarantee. When a person who wants to be the Prime Minister, rally after rally, seeks votes and puts a manifesto, wins the mandate, it becomes a legal guarantee. It is a guarantee that was made to the millions of farmers, tens of millions of farmers. Maybe Mr. Vinod does not represent that. Maybe today Prime Minister with 14,56,226 crores of write-offs to crony capitalists do not want to represent those farmers. But the fact is, these farmers will represent themselves. They did not become farmers because Modi ji promised them. They became farmers because they want to ensure that India as a nation has food security.
I have to leave it at that. Thank you very much to all our guests. I suspect this is a story that's going to be in the headlines for the next few days, if not the next few weeks, because the farmers seem hell-bent that they want to reach Delhi's borders and they want to sit there until the government gives in to their demands. The government's contention, of course, is that at least the main demand, which is guaranteed MSP as per a law, is simply economically just not feasible. We'll see how the story plays out. Thanks very much for tuning in.
Presented by that you can see over here has already started. This is likely to continue over the next few hours as well, and that is.
Anshul, stay with us on the broadcast. Anshul, stay with us on the broadcast. I'll carry across to my colleague Anvit as well. He is with us on the show. Anvit, give us a sense about different borders of the national capital. The Tikri border, of course, is one border where the last time the farmers were on a sit-in. We're playing out those visuals from the Shambhu border specifically, where the barricades were broken. There was a clash between the farmers and the authorities who were present there. There are tear gas shells that were fired, mild lathi charge that was resorted to. What is the plan of action you sense from the authorities?
See, there are three main borders that are currently being watched closely by the police. One is Ghazipur border that connects UP to Delhi. Last time also farmers from UP, Muzaffarpur, Meerut area had come over there and had blocked the entire highway, the elevated road highway. Other two highways are Singhu border, which is the Delhi Karnal border, and one is Tikri border where I am standing, which is Jhajjar and Tikri border, Delhi border. You can see there a board of welcome to Haryana says, because that is where Haryana the boundary of Haryana begins, and that is the Jhajjar administrative area. We are in Tikri. The precaution that the Delhi police have taken, see, it's not just Delhi police that is on ground right.
नमस्कार। अबू धाबी में आप लोगों ने नया इतिहास रच दिया है। आप लोग